Welcome to the Viking Age podcast. It's the official podcast of the VikingAge.com. My name is Chris Schad. I write for Fansided and ZoneCoverage.com. My co-host is Adam Patrick. He is managing editor of the Viking Age and lead editor for Fansided. We do this right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're also in podcast and form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. On today's show, the Vikings officially kick off their general manager search. Jonathan Greenard definitely won't have his words twisted in Philadelphia. And what did the NFL draft really tell us about the Minnesota Vikings? But first, let's just start with the general manager search. The Minnesota Vikings officially kicking off their general manager search on Wednesday. Then, yeah, we're recording this on Wednesday. I don't know what day it is. It's been a crazy month. On Wednesday, the Wilt family kicked things off with a statement that said this will be a thorough and deliberate process led by ownership and a small internal advisory committee. They have engaged a search firm, Tumke ZRG. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just going to go with that to assist in finding candidates. They also added, our focus is to identify a decisive leader with a clear vision for team building, strong communication, and the ability to build alignment across an organization. They will keep candidates private, although they will probably leak at some point. And hey, lo and behold, it already did, because Ben Gessling of the Star Tribune also reported that interim general manager Rob Brzezinski has interest in the job. So that report is significant to me, Adam, because it sure as hell seems like Rob Brzezinski is the favorite for this now. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think something terribly, terribly wrong would have to happen in order for Rob Brzezinski to not end up with this permanent GM role at this time. Like, it has the feelings of, this didn't end up happening, but when Harbaugh came in 2022, and everyone just assumed like, oh, he's going to be the new head coach. He's basically a lock. It has similar feelings to that, but this time I think it might actually happen because Brzezinski's already been with the organization for 30 years, so everyone in that building knows him. Everyone likes him. It seems like everything went well in terms of the draft, and free agency's been pretty smooth, even though they haven't really done a whole lot. But I think it was interesting that the Vikings revealed that they're not going to release the names that they interview publicly, which means to me maybe they'll release them after the search, and then after the search they'll say that, oh, after a long search, a hard search, we're gonna go with Rob Brzezinski. So I don't know if this is money well spent by the Wilfs, but they have money to spend, so who really cares?
Hey, search firm, can you find a couple candidates to help us? I
Look
shouldn't
like we're
joke
looking for
about
someone.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, look like we're looking for someone.
Make
Like,
us look like we're doing something.
correct. Like, and I think too, they saw what happened the last search, and oh my God, they interviewed a woman. Like, why would they do that? Why a woman can't hold this job? Oh my God. Obviously that's joking. Don't clip me online and be like, this racist pig or sexist pig. No, that's not me at all. You know,
You've got
Rob
sisters.
Brzezinski is going to be the favorite for this job. I agree. And then when I talk about a long, exhausting search, I don't know. It must be a long hallway down from the Wilfs office to Rob Brzezinski's. And I mean, it's a long flight from New Jersey to CCO Performance Center. So, I mean, technically, it is a long search and, distance wise.
Mhm.
I don't know if I want Rob Brzezinski to come away with this job, Adam, because I'm kind of surprised he wants the job, first of
Yeah.
all. If I'm him, and I mean, I don't know, maybe he wants to move up. I mean, it sounds like he does, according to the report, but why not just keep your job? You can sit as your cap guru thing. You can keep I'm sure he's got a parking spot at TCO Performance Center, and he had one at Winter Park. You got a permanent office. You could just chill. You could retire comfortably in 5 to 10 years. And, every once in a while, somebody comes to your office, says, hey, Anthony Barr needs a contract. Can you make us the dumbest contract possible? Sure, right ahead. Whatever you want, boss. Hey, we need to keep our defense together. Can you do that? Or else I'm going to give you a swirly in the toilet. I feel bad saying this because Rob Brzezinski is really good at his job and he's highly respected. But the general manager position, if anything goes wrong, you're almost going to get fired. Instead, if you're 2-5, the Wilfs will call you and be like, trade for Adam Thielen right now. Or Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores will come in brawling into your office trying to sign, should we sign a backup guard or an offer, a defensive tackle? No, it's mine. No, it's mine. It just sounds like a complete disaster because I don't know. If I'm Rob Brzezinski, I don't want that job, and I don't want him doing that job because I don't want somebody who's just going to say yes to everything. And after the NFL draft, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, it sure as hell seems like he just, okay, guys, what do you guys want? All right, I'll call it like they're ordering pizza toppings or something. Like it's just, I don't know. Like maybe I'm out of bounds here, but
no, I think you need to have a certain amount of checks and balances within your front office and coaching, which, yeah, it's fair to have questions about with Brzezinski, especially with the report last year that he was the one who stepped in and got the Adam Thielen trade done with the Carolina Panthers after after Kwesi was like, nah, I'm not giving that up for him. Guess what? Kwesi was right. He was right about some things. He wasn't right about Lewis Cine. Okay. But who was? But yeah, like with Rob Brzezinski, he seems like a nice guy. Seems like everyone likes him. Does he want to be in a position where people might not like him? I don't know. But I think I've told you this in the past where like I wonder if he'll just set up a thing where he's gonna be the GM. If it doesn't work out, then he'll just go back to his old role and they'll find somebody else. But if it doesn't work out, is Kevin O'Connell going to be around? Is Brian Flores going to be around? Are they going to have to hire a brand new regime? Like, it seems like the Vikings always want to take the safe way to do things. There's not a lot of, when it comes to front office and coaching, I would say. Like Mike Zimmer, you know what? Mike Zimmer was probably one of the riskiest hires they've made. And guess what? They went to an NFC championship game. They won 2 NFC North titles, and it paid off. And then he was fired after, 8 years or whatever. And then they hired Kevin O'Connell because they wanted to get someone who wouldn't ruffle any feathers. And we're heading into year 5, and he has 0 playoff wins. Oh, they won 14 games and 13 games in the regular season. Great. A lot of teams win games in the regular season. The regular season doesn't mean anything once you get into playoffs, and the Vikings have been not good. They have as many playoff wins as the New York Jets since Kevin O'Connell became the head coach of the Vikings. So, I think this is another example of the Vikings taking a safe route. If they go the Brzezinski route, I would like to see them at least get serious about a possible external candidate. I've seen someone, I think it's a guy from the Raiders who actually like worked at San Diego State when Kevin O'Connell was there, and he's worked with George Payton for the last handful of years. So he's familiar with a lot of people within the Vikings organization already. There's somebody who just left the Titans who was like a scout and a front office executive with the Packers for like 14 years. There's candidates out there. Like this time of year, people are changing their front office and scouting staff. This is the time of year that they do it because the draft is their Super Bowl pretty much. So I would like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it until things go wrong, which right now they haven't. But when we get to the season and they need, I don't know, a tight end who can actually stay healthy and catch and actually be a factor, will we get mad about that of, keeping TJ Hawkinson around because he's a great guy and he loves going to wild games? Like, is that going to be something? Are we going to get mad when Jordan Addison, we give him an extension and then what do you know? He finds himself in the headlines for the wrong reason again. Like this is they're taking a lot of safe routes, and I don't know. I don't understand it sometimes because you look at franchises like the Seahawks who've had John Snyder in there as the GM for a while, and he's not afraid to ruffle any feathers. You look at another franchise like the Eagles with their GM who's been there forever and regarded as like the best in the NFL. He's not afraid to ruffle any feathers. So I would like the Vikings to take some risks, but I just don't, I think that Minnesota Nice slogan kind of gets to their head sometimes.
You know what? Brzezinski would be a good hire in the fact that you are keeping things somewhat together, like it's not
Yeah.
blowing everything up. And a lot of the talk coming out of the draft was how cooperative, scouts were coming out and saying, wow, we really felt heard this time, as opposed to when Kwesi was there. And I don't know, like posing. Yeah. I mean, they want collaboration.
Yeah,
They want
that's all Quincy
continuity.
talked about.
This was Rich what's Frank Smith's pick, and this was Keenan McCardell had that one
How many
circled
times
down.
we hear about
Brian
McCardell
Flores
banging the
wanted
table
this
for
pick.
a pick for Ty Felton or for Jalen Naylor? Like,
We're just
come
going to
on.
live in harmony, and we're going to listen to each other, and we're going to be friends, even though the head coach got the general manager fired, but nobody wants to say it out loud because, Kevin O'Connell's going full offensive genius Kyle Shanahan on the Vikings right now.
You know what I will say? I will say if they do keep Brzezinski, they need to make some changes in the scouting staff and the personnel. Like you cannot continue to move forward with like a Ryan Grigson or people in there who have not proven that they know how to make good selections when it comes to at least just the draft. Like free agency, fine, whatever, keep those people, but scouting staff and stuff, like you got to make some adjustments there because it's obviously not working.
Here's my question. What are you protecting? Like what have you established that's this big thing that we have such a good thing in this building
Tradition.
that we cannot go to the outside. We can't hire the McKay kid from he's not a kid, he's a full grown man. But I mean from yeah, I know they all look like kids. I mean James Gladstone's like 18, like the guy who took the Jaguars job.
They all look like baby geniuses. You remember that movie?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like they just pump out all these like fresh face. I mean, Brad Holmes is the only one who actually looks old because he's got like gray in his goatee
well, he went
or
to
whatever.
Detroit, that'll do it to you.
But I mean, look at this franchise right now. The Vikings think they have this team that's just ready to pop, and they've been building it over the last couple of years. When in reality, they might be the 2025 Patriots, who everybody expects to fall on their face. And you might come back at me and say, this team won 14 games a year ago, and now we're going to get better quarterback play, and we're going to win. Let's talk about the 2024 Vikings, shall we? The 2024 Vikings played the AFC South, bad division. They played an injured 49ers team, which you could say that every year. They played highly dysfunctional Jets and Bears teams. Kyler Murray, well, hey, a washed Kirk Cousins, a washed Geno Smith, and a good but not great Packers team who we beat twice. And of course, we are super excited because that's our Super Bowl, even though, when Packer fans say it, we get super mad. The two championship caliber teams that they did play, the Rams and the Lions, beat them twice each. And the last two times they kicked their ass down the season. So that is what you're protecting. In that same team, a lot of the key cogs, and I know JJ McCarthy did not play well. I know they didn't have good I know they had to start Max Brosmer, who we all wanted to be Purple Purdy or whatever bullshit we were spitting out there. That same team was 4-8 last year, including 2-3 with Carson Wentz. So here's the other thing. And Luke Norris of the Viking Age wrote this article. It was published today, I believe. The Vikings currently have the 10th highest odds among NFC teams to win the Super Bowl. Now, there's only 7 playoff spots in case you're wondering. So being 10th in your own conference is bad, but here's just a list. The Rams, Seahawks, Packers, Eagles, 49ers, Lions, Cowboys, Bears, the Bucks, whose head coach has the personality of a rock, not to be confused with The Rock, has a personality of a rock and looks like he smelled a bad fart on the sideline all the time. They are above you right now. Mike Evans was so sick of Todd Bowles, he got the fuck out of there. Yeah. And yet, we're bringing in Kyler Murray, baby. He's going to lead us to the promised land. A quarterback that has won more than 9 games once in his career. And I know Cardinals, bad organization. You can say that once again. People are suddenly acting like this team's just going to rise from the dead and win 14 games. And I just feel like nothing changes if Rob Brzezinski is your GM. He's going to nod his head. He's going to make contracts. He's going to do the financial gymnastics thing. And, Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores are going to run the show, and maybe we'll win 10 games and get our ass kicked in the playoffs again. That is what makes me frustrated. And You can spew all the candidates you want at me. I don't care. I don't care if it's Mickey Mouse, for God's sake. Like, hire somebody on the outside. I want something different.
Mhm.
And I know we do this every 2 or 3 years, but it's like, man, I just, it's nothing against Rob Brzezinski. If they hire somebody from the outside, I hope they keep him as the salary cap guy. But I mean, he just comes off to me as a yes man. And I don't mean that as an offense to Rob Brzezinski at all. It just means like he's just going to listen and do what everybody tells him so he can keep his job.
It's a people pleaser.
Yes.
And in his previous role, that was fine because he's negotiating contracts. So you need to make sure all parties are happy with the terms. When it comes to being a GM and you got to make tough decisions, you're going to piss some people off. And I don't know if he's comfortable with doing that. He might be. But you know, he might have to hand the phone over to Brian Flores and be like, can you take care of this for me? I don't feel comfortable. And Brian Flores will be like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. You're cut. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I would like to see change because I feel like getting someone new in there gives you the opportunity, more upside. Like we talk about JJ McCarthy and how excited people were when he got drafted and everything. Even before next year, before he started, people were excited about him because of the upside and the potential. But if they brought, if they brought back Kirk Cousins last year, people wouldn't have been as excited because they know what he's capable of. And I think that's kind of a similar feeling that people have with, at least you and some other people have with Rob Brzezinski, is where we kind of know what the Vikings are capable of with Rob Brzezinski as the GM. Why shouldn't they explore adding someone who can take them to a different level? That's up to the Vikings, and again, I think that they just go with what's comfortable, and what's comfortable right now is someone who's gonna try and make everybody happy. I don't
Not
know
to
if that's gonna work.
and not to cut you off, I apologize for that. But I mean, at the same time, it doesn't have to be like Kwesi, where it's like this extreme thing where like he went to an Ivy League school and was Wall Street trader and like gets to his press conference and everybody treats him like he's a student from Professor X's School of Mutants or whatever. Like it just somebody who just does something different. It's like plucking a guy from the Rams organization who, has taken his shots. I mean, look at what Detroit has done. Detroit was bad forever. They're having their best window like since I've been alive. Like it's insane. But like the Vikings just, okay, we don't want to do it. We have to be in the hunt. We have to be, so or else the fans are going to get really mad and everything's going to be bad. And we have to keep everybody in place. And what happens if we lose Brian Flores? Like, what will we do? I don't know.
Like,
hire another defensive coordinator. I mean, there are people out there.
Like if Rob Brzezinski, like those last few months, I don't even know if he had this authority, but like to put his foot down and be like, we're not going to pick up Addison's option. He's hasn't done enough to prove to us that he can be trusted off the field, and we're not comfortable with giving him that kind of money. And if he wants to work on an extension, we can discuss that. But we're not comfortable giving him that option. Instead, they're like, oh, he screwed up a few times, He fell asleep on the wheel on a highway. Who doesn't do that? Come on. Like, he's fine. He's just a kid. He'll figure it out.
I get sleepy after 12 beers too. It's not a problem.
He'll figure it out. We'll give him seven. What'll fix things? We'll give him $18 million in 2020. That'll make things so much better.
Then he'll have money to get an Uber, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. He won't want to drive. I wonder if he's like not even allowed to drive anymore. Actually,
Kevin O'Connell would hire him as his personal driver if he could. He trusts him that much. He says, he's just a kid.
Wrong.
Sometimes I had to go to the grocery store and, I really love Jordan and everything else. And then,
But like if he made a move like that, then I'd be like, okay, I can get on board with this guy. But instead it was just the same old, like, oh yeah, we're gonna pick up Jordan's option. We think, his value to our football club is just so important. We don't want to, risk him, going somewhere else. It's like he's a number 2 receiver who hasn't had 1,000 yards ever in his career. I understand he's very good. He was a first round pick. but you're in the middle as we're speaking, it could have already been done of talking to Juwan Jennings, who caught, I think, like 5 fewer touchdowns than Addison in the last 2 years or more. I think he might have more. Um, so, like, it's not like receivers is like this thing where with quarterbacks where, like, you just once you get one, you gotta hold on to him as long as possible. Like, if this guy messes it he hasn't messed up just once. He got the speeding ticket for his dog. He fell asleep behind the wheel and got arrested for DUI on the side of a highway, a off-ramp, in the middle of everybody to the airport, like high traffic area. We don't even talk about this. He posted a picture of a mimosa after Kyrie Jackson got killed in a car accident. How dumb are you? And then most recently, he got, arrested at the noodle bar for not leaving. Like, come on. What? And we're just gonna be okay with giving him $18 million? Like, stuff like that is what makes me worry about the future with Rob Brzezinski leading things. So yeah, I'm not I'm not gonna be sound like I'm optimistic about the future of the Vikings with Rob Brzezinski. I'm not concerned that it'll go terribly, but I don't know. I don't think it'll take him to the promised land. No,
Is a noodle bar actually a bar, or is it a bar with like a buffet, like with noodles?
it was open till 4 at a casino, so I'm assuming it might be a mixture of both.
Because like if it's just a noodle bar, like I wouldn't leave that place either if I were
Well,
him. I would just carb
I
up and
feel like
like
it'd be
just
pretty hard to get kicked out of a noodle bar if it was just noodles. Like, "Sir,
well,
we don't have any left.
we're
You've
out of
eaten too much."
Alfredo, man.
Yeah, "You've
You
eaten
need
too
to
much.
leave.
You gotta get out." No, I think there was some beverages involved in that, and that's another thing. I'm pretty sure Jordan Addison has a problem, with drinking. Seems like he's gotten himself in a couple, situations that are not ideal. And I don't know what they're doing with that behind the scenes. They could be doing something, but man, like, I don't
And to
know.
be
I
clear, I want the kid to figure it out. I'm calling
absolutely.
him a kid. I hate using the term
Is he
because they're all in their
24?
20s. Yeah, he's 24. Like he should know better.
He's a kid. He's a kid.
Yeah,
Um,
in NFL terms, sure. But
yeah. Well, and then 2 years he'll be old, in the NFL. But
you
like
can't rent a car. I mean, that's a good thing, right?
also, like, you gotta think about the kind of message you're sending to the rest of your team by doing something like that, where you're basically enabling him to act like that and then rewarding him with an extension and someone, you get a player down the line who maybe they get in trouble and then they're not as, excited about that and then they don't get an extension. It's like, well, what the heck, man? You just gave Jordan Addison a bunch of money. Why can't I haven't done anything off the field? Why can't I get that? Like Aaron Jones is probably like, I don't do anything. I run the ball and I get my ass kicked every week and then I have to take a pay cut. So, yeah, it's I don't know. That situation is what brought those types of things are what concerns me moving forward with the Vikings if Rob Brzezinski's leading the way.
Also, in our next segment, the Vikings apparently traded Chris Nolan again.
No.
Actually, it's just Jonathan Greenard, but Jonathan Greenard was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles during the draft for 2 third-rounders, a 2026, which became Miami safety Jacoby Thomas, and a 2027 third-rounder. Not bad. Stronger draft, people say. Greenard also got a 4-year, $100 million extension. That's basically a 2-year, $50 million deal because NFL contracts. Apparently Dallas Turner doesn't exist because Rob Brzezinski said it's something that we understand is not making us a better team today. So yeah, are people overreacting
Why
to this
would you
trade or
say
what do you
that?
think? Yeah, it's
Why
very
would you
weird.
say that? To like, I understand he doesn't have these public speaking roles normally, but he's been around the organization long enough. Why in the world would you say, "We know this team's not gonna make our team better," or you could have easily been like, give the mic to Kevin O'Connell and be like, "Oh, we're fully confident in Dallas Turner to take over and step up. Like, we drafted him in the first round for a reason." There you go, boom. Not, "Oh, yeah, we know our team's not gonna be better with Grenard not here." And they also cleared up, $12 million in cap space this year, which is why they are allowed to pursue someone like a Juwan Jennings as their third receiver, and I believe it cleared like 24 or 22 in cap space next year as well. So like they got a bunch of money off the books. He wasn't going to play on his contract that he wanted, and the Vikings didn't want to give it to him because he's played one full season in his 6 years in the NFL. Sorry, they don't want to give him more money that to get to sit on the bench. Like he was a good guy, good locker room guy. Like I enjoyed covering him. He was fun to watch when he was on the field. I would have liked if he didn't miss so many tackles. Um, but, I'm sure he'll have 19 sacks with the Eagles next year. And then, Vikings fans will be just pointing, hey, look at that. And then, Dallas Turner's just nothing apparently. And Andrew Van Ginkel's nothing. And then, Brian Flores can't call it defense anymore because he doesn't have Jonathan Greenard. They didn't just add 2 stud, rookie defensive linemen. They don't have Jalen Redmond. So yeah, like the pushback of, especially because people are like, oh, I can't believe that's all they got for him. It's like, got for him? He's almost 30. Like he's almost 30. He wants to get paid. He had 3 sacks last year. They got a third this year, which was a top 100 pick. And then they got a third next year in a much better, supposedly, for now, at this point in time, 2027 draft. I think what they got is fine. If you go back and look at the edge rushers around his age, I think it's like Matthew Judon and a couple other guys, of what those teams were able to get in exchange for him. The Vikings got more than all of those teams. So I don't understand. Like Pete, yeah, like you said, people are freaking out. Like, like they just gave away like Myles Garrett. Like, no, like what? I think it was Purple Daily that shared the stat of like when Greenard wasn't on the field last year, the Vikings allowed like 13 points a game.
Yeah,
what's the problem? So, yeah. And then Greenard, stirring the pot, like, oh, I didn't see any hardware in Minnesota, blah blah blah. And then he's like, oh, I knew you guys were gonna roll with it. Yeah, we're gonna roll with that. Of course, you can't say that stuff and then expect no one to react to it. I know he wants to make his new fan base feel good, but he had to expect that was coming.
And I mean, the good news is he went to a completely rational, level-headed fan base in Philadelphia who never gets upset about anything,
Yeah,
I mean, they never twist words or,
no.
throw full beer cans at opposing fans or eat dog shit on the side of the road when they're celebrating a Super Bowl win. Maybe that's what you do when you win a Super Bowl. I don't know. The Vikings aren't even close to one. So they win one. Maybe sorry, it was horse shit, not dog shit. But
make big signs that say fuck Millie, who's like 100-year-old lady.
100-year-old. Like that fan base will totally not like, right. Oh, I know what he was saying there. He's totally fine. Like they want to run AJ Brown out of town for like reading a book on the sideline.
You thought the Vikings media was like tough on you because they said things were, a little off in the locker room. Enjoy Philadelphia, bro.
I'm just thinking of certain reporters and laughing at that because it's like, yeah, good luck, man. Good. Yeah. And you know what? He got what he wanted. Like he said that too. He's like, both sides got what they wanted. Yeah. I don't know if the Vikings really got what they wanted because 2/3, it seems a little less, but also too, Rob Brzezinski said, well, that was what teams were willing to pay. Okay, if you didn't like the deal,
did you want to pay him? Did you want to pay? But did you want to pay him?
Okay, right. So here's the argument. I'm glad you said that because Dallas Turner, I don't know if people's brains are just warped or whatever, because Jonathan Greenard had 3 sacks and then had a shoulder injury last year. Yep. Like it is a weird ass time to go be like, I would like a raise, please. Like, yeah. Huh? What? Like, I think it was Alec Lewis wrote a story at The Athletic where like some NFC executives are like, I wouldn't give him that contract. Yeah. That's insane. Jonathan Greenard against Dallas Turner. Let's look at this here. I looked at Pro Football Focus and just compared the two. And Greenard has a lot of advantages, but they're not like $50 million advantages here. Pressure rate. Jonathan Greenard, 17.4%. Dallas Turner, 14.5%. Sacks, Jonathan Greenard had 3. Dallas Turner had 8. Okay. Well, pressure. Okay. Well, Matthew Collar had a very good point. Quarterback can still throw the ball under pressure. They can't throw the ball when they're on their back. So finishing plays. You want to talk
Nick
about
Mullins
plays?
tried.
Dallas Turner, 13.6% missed tackle rate. Jonathan Greenard, 25%. So 1 in 4 times he came in on the quarterback, he missed him. Like,
not even the quarterback. That's running backs and receivers too.
Yeah. Like, it's not just quarterback. It's just 1 out of 4 times that running or that ball carrier is going to get away from Jonathan Greenard. Run stop rate. Jonathan Greenard was good at that. 8.8% to Dallas Turner's 5.1. And by the way, Dallas Turner is significantly younger than Jonathan Greenard. So, like,
and cheaper.
Yes, again, like, get back to my original point. What are we protecting here? Like, Jonathan Greenard had a monster season against an easy schedule that you dominated, took advantage of, and then lost in the opening round of the playoffs. Like, he's a good player. I don't want to say he sucks, but at the same time, he is not an indispensable piece where, oh my God, how could you possibly do this? And here's the thing people aren't saying. If you didn't like the deal, you didn't have to trade him. You could, again, ruffle some feathers. Oh my God, we want to do right by Jonathan Greenard. You could just say, you are under contract for the next 2 years. We are willing to give you a raise. We're willing to give you a bump because you mean a lot to the organization, because they did have some cap room, and, do the Daniil Hunter thing. And then, hey, if you perform, let's get back to the bargaining table. Let's talk about this. Greenard may have said, screw you, but you know what the Vikings could have said? Okay, that's cool. We have Dallas Turner. So he'll just take your job because he played very well in your role last year. And you could sit there and hold out because we're not budging on this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was an option they had. But of course, 2 third-rounders to the Eagles. So again, we can't hurt anybody's feelings. And
guess what? What if the Eagles
they know how I feel about Jonathan, and Jonathan knows how I feel about us. He said those exact words during the press conference. Kevin O'Connell said those exact words. Like, my God, I'm sorry, I'm crashing out a lot in this episode, but my God.
Is he going to say those about JJ McCarthy when they trade him?
Yeah. Oh, JJ, and then he had a kid in week 2. Yeah. I mean, good God.
What was it, the New York Post? That was like, JJ McCarthy got married despite, like, controversial time and, like, NFL career or whatever. Like, that was their headline of, like,
well,
he got married when his future's uncertain in the NFL.
Well, the good news is, like, if he has a kid now, it won't be due until, like, January or February. So, I mean, if the Vikings somehow make the Super Bowl, like some people think they're going to, that might be a problem, but
no,
spoiler alert, they're probably not.
No. Yeah, I just, if they didn't have Dallas Turner, fine. All these arguments are way more valid, way more. But they have him. They traded up in the first round to get him for a reason. He's young, he's cheaper. You could definitely make the argument he was better than him last year. And here's another point. Did anyone know who Jonathan Greenard was 2 years ago when they signed him, before they signed him? No.
People were mad they let Hunter walk.
Like who they get all this money to, the guy who can't even stay healthy? And all of a sudden it's like, oh no, he's gone. It's like, it's a common reaction, I feel like, it's not just Vikings fans. It's all fan bases through all sports, where, like, you like watching this player. He's a good guy. He's enjoyable, like in pressers and stuff. And then they leave, and you're like, oh, why couldn't he stay? It's like, because you can't keep everyone. Like, you can't. Or else Thielen would still be here. Stephon Diggs probably wouldn't. Kirk Cousins would still be here. Nick Mullins would be here. Dalvin Cook would still be here. Like, you can't keep everybody. And I think it might have been, I don't know what podcast I said, but, like, to get Flores to, like, agree to trade Greenard, they basically let him control, like, the first 2 days of the draft, and that was pretty obvious. And I would believe that 1,000%. So, but at the same time, Brian Flores' defense was good without Jonathan Greenard. So, yeah, it's just a lot of overreaction. There's not a whole lot like that trade for the Vikings was probably the most like exciting thing to happen in the draft for the Vikings. Like this was a boring draft. Like covering it, like Caleb Banks was a surprise, but he's still like it wasn't like he was a third round prospect and they took him in the first round. The Vikings aren't the Jaguars. Um, but like, yeah, the Grenard trade was like the big surprise, even though we also knew about it for like a month because it's just been known, especially with the Eagles. Like there was a dude, it was Ali Colony, who is that his name?
Connolly.
Ali Connolly.
It's a hard name to say.
Yeah, who spilled the beans on like his Substack podcast or whatever, like a week before the draft, because it was just so widely known that it was set in place. So yeah, I don't know. Well, the first few weeks after Dallas Turner has like 6 sacks, people aren't going to care anymore. So.
And if he goes the first game without a sack, everybody's like, oh my God, I miss Jonathan Greenard. How could you do this? We're such a tortured franchise. And Gary Anderson missed the field goal in 1998. And I've never recovered, even though they weren't born in 1998, but whatever.
Oh man. Can you imagine if we haven't talked about rookies yet, but if Dylan Thieneman is good for the Bears, which I don't think he might. He's a solid player, but
he could have a 10-year. I mean,
he's not the next Harrison Smith. Okay?
Here's the problem. You could take a guy in the third round that does the same damn thing as Dylan Thieneman.
Yes.
That's why I didn't want him. Like
that's what the Vikings did.
Caleb Banks. Like here's the thing about, and we'll talk about the draft here in a second, but Caleb Banks, the thing I like about him is that they took a shot. They said, hey, we like this guy's traits. It's not the safest pick, but if he blows up, and like, to my knowledge, all he needs to do is stay healthy and like learn some technique. Like if he does those two things.
The Vikings basically said in their presser after selecting him was like, we have the best feet guys in the country, pretty much. You know, Rex Ryan
walks in like, hey, how's it going? What are you doing?
No, they have the best orthopedic surgeons. Like he was like, teams come to our guys to fix their feet. That's how good they are. It's like, okay, relax.
Oh my God. Well, we'll talk about the draft in just a little bit here, but we gotta talk to you about Underdog Fantasy because the NBA playoffs are finally here, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all of the action. Hey, playing the Underdog is easy. You just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. I've been playing Underdog. I actually do a little bit of NHL playoffs as well with the Minnesota Wild starting to make their run. The Timberwolves, they're ahead. You know, maybe you like Io Dosunmu. I can barely pronounce his name. I just call him Io for short, but maybe you go high on his points. And Nikola Jokic, you know, they don't have chokeouts on Underdog, but you can do points, rebounds, assists, all those two things. If you don't do those two, you get some money. If you get both of them right, both of those picks, it's a good time. So if you're just sitting around watching some playoff action, download the app today. Sign up with the promo code The Age, which is all one word. You score $50 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That is promo code The Age. Underdog, make picks, win money. You must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-MY-RESET or 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. And in Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP to 53342. And in New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. All right. So the draft. What did this draft tell us about the Vikings? Because we could go through and go pick by pick and break everything down. I'm going to get somebody else to do that because I got Eric Edholm.
What? You don't think I could do it? No. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just this was
It's
such
a
a
lot.
hard draft to like know the prospects because
Yeah.
like there was just nobody talked about any prospects. Nobody like it was just kind of there. It's like, well, this draft class sucks. Like there's nobody here that can help you. It's
That's why the
like
Ravens let their owner make a 5th round pick because they're just like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
make a wish. Hey,
Yeah.
Jimmy, who do you want? A punter. Oh, okay. Well, we'll get a punter.
Yeah.
I did laugh at so the Packers traded up for a kicker at the end of the 6th round,
Yeah.
Trace Smack. And every Packer fan
Florida
account,
kicker.
yeah, every Packer fan account is like, I'm gonna bump this song all summer. It's Akon, Smack That. Have you heard of the song? It's like so like if you are an investor, invest in touch tunes because every drunk Packer fan is just gonna play that awful song
Akon
all
and
damn
Eminem.
summer.
I'm
Eminem's in it too. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Got a
outside of
feature.
Spotted Cow, and I mean, you also don't get it in the bottles of the can. Like you got to get it at the bar out of the tap for it to be good. And it's just okay, but it's good. If you're in Wisconsin, you just like, yeah, I'll have Spotted Cow. I can't get that in Minnesota. Whatever.
Except Bud Light. Just piss
yeah.
everybody off.
Bud Light. I can't do Bud Light.
Haven't
Yeah.
drank it in a
What
while.
is it? Those they have those videos where it's like the bartender like craft ice and whatever, and like the caption just says, "Yeah, cool. I'll have a Coors Light, please." We'll be.
I
we'll
still
be
drink
good.
PBR. Like I went to a concert a couple weeks ago and I said PBR.
And
That's fine.
hams. Some
What?
hams.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's like a cheap beer. That's
Yeah.
like my friend drank that in college, but
I don't want to do any Busch Light slander here or anything. So
Hey,
I get into that again.
I love the Busch lattes,
I
but no one of the guys in the RBN the other day was like talking about Hammond, Indiana, because the Bears might move there and become the Indiana Bears. And he's like, oh yeah, maybe they won't go there and be the Hammond Hams. And like the Hams has a bear as their mascot.
Oh, okay.
So like I was like, hey, it fits. So
yeah, they're not going to Indiana.
Yeah,
it's all like
it's same as Arden Hills.
We might go. We might go to LA.
You better do this. We might
Vikings almost went to San Antonio.
We might go to Montreal.
Way back in the day.
Peru needs a team.
Yeah.
Roger wants to put a team in London. London Bears. No more in Chicago.
Jaguars are going there. Yeah. Like this draft, like we've got some people who know the prospects really well. And I think this draft we were just more amazed with them than ever because we're just like, who are these guys? Because how do you know like this
they
guy
only mentioned one guy as a possibility for the Vikings.
Yeah, this guy in the 6th round. How do you know like that? Like the dude, like I know Thor knows his draft stuff. Obviously, he probably studies it at night. But like the dude, the corner the Vikings got from what college?
Stephen F. Austin.
Yes, yeah.
I remember that because it's like Stone Cold.
So. What? Yeah. When am I ever gonna look at somebody from Stephen F. Austin? Never. Like so like I knew who Caleb Banks was. I knew who Dominique Orange was. I knew who Damon Claiborne was because I know the Vikings were just they did not hide their interest in him at all. And some other guys too. But like, yeah, this draft was like it felt very like college football, like video game edition where like they're just making up names and you're just like, yeah.
The Key and Peele skit.
Yeah.
It's like Dilemminus
yeah.
Aquarius. Like
I think I was way back in the day, like I think on like the Adam Carolla show or whatever. I don't listen to him anymore. Don't worry, people. But he would say like things like Librarian Booker would be like a good football name. I always think of that. But yeah, like so the Vikings first picks, they got Caleb Banks. Second pick, they got the linebacker from Cincinnati, Jake Golday, right? Who I think is going to be pretty good.
To say his name, but
Golday,
yeah.
I think, right? Jake, yeah, from State Farm. I think he's going to be pretty good. And I think he's going to. I think most people assume he's going to replace Blake Cashman or Ivan Pace or Eric Wilson, but he's got a lot of traits that are very similar to Andrew Van Ginkel, whose contract happens to run out next year. Like if you compare, I think people have done this where they've compared like their relative athletic scores or their profiles or whatever and put them next to each other. They are very similar. So I feel like he's someone who could replace that Van Ginkel role on that side after next year if they want to move on from him. And then they got Dominique Orange, and then they drafted a left tackle in the 3rd round. What's going on with Mr. Darrisaw?
The knees might be pulled pork at this point.
Yeah, like I understand people are like, oh, they're going to switch him to right tackle. Oh, really? They're going to switch a guy who played left tackle his entire college career to right tackle? What is this, the Zimmer regime? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if Christian, and again, I'm not blaming him for doing this, but, you know, going into a game for 9 snaps and going,
He should not have played until like after the bye last year.
Right. But the Vikings,
and we don't know, and we also don't know if it was his choice. It could have been like because the Vikings are all like, they're like, oh, he's back at OTAs, he's back at training. It could have been like Kevin O'Connell, like, hey, are you gonna get out there? Come on, you gonna get out there? So like, I'm not gonna say it's entirely his fault either, because you do have that like, and he probably felt the obligation to be out there, and push himself. But yeah, like I did look it up. I think the Vikings can safely get out of his contract after this year. A trade would be ideal, would help them more. But if they were to cut him, I think making him a post June 1st cut would free up like 10 million, and they'd eat some dead cap. But it's doable if they want to. And you gotta look at a third round left tackle, and that's got to raise a few eyebrows. Like that's not something to be like, oh, they just got him for depth. It's like, did they? I don't know.
And Brian
O'Neill too. They could switch him to right tackle. So
yeah, I mean that's a possibility as well.
Because there hasn't been any reports or anything about him having any extension negotiations or anything. I think people have speculated that it'd be a good idea to do that, but it also would be hilarious if they didn't do that and then they replaced him with Tiernan, who they got in the 3rd round, because I'm pretty sure Brian O'Neill announced that pick. So on stage.
I always wonder too, like when like just kind of like List of Jericho, or what was it, Festival of Friendship moment, like Brian O'Neill goes up there and he's like they do it in the 1st round, have players announce the picks and be like, all right, with the 5th overall pick in the NFL draft, the Minnesota Vikings select offensive tackle. What?
Yeah, have Kirk Cousins go up there and
why is my name on this?
Yeah. Just have Calvin Ridley go up with the number 4 pick with the Titans.
Freaking Penix pick, just Kirko.
Oh,
hey, the new face of the franchise, Kirko. The Atlanta Falcons select quarterback Michael Penix.
They should do that. I think someone's always thrown out the idea, it might be on like Twitter or something, of like waiting until like the start of the regular season to like announce all the free agency deals and draft stuff, as like everyone gets just like introduced and everyone's just like freaking out, like, what? Kirk Cousins to the Raiders? It's like
WWE style, just like all of a sudden, like he just runs out of the
like
tunnel.
The Hardys coming back to Mania or something like that.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson, they don't say anything about Kyler Murray, just like, all right, Green Bay, I'm here, but I didn't come alone. And then there's like, where is he? Oh shit, it's Kyler Murray.
He's under the ring. Oh, we're gonna clip that and save that for a lot of episodes.
So I mean, there were some other ones. I mean, they took a fullback in the 5th round, Ben Barrettson.
Yeah,
I mean,
that just means they're gonna run, right?
That dude is,
They're gonna run now, right?
Right.
Yeah, run pass.
Frank
now.
Smith's like, hey, you brought me in for the running game, right? Yeah, right.
The funny thing is, they brought him in the running game to help with shotgun running game. They don't really use fullbacks in shotgun, so.
But he looks like he's from they lost CJ Ham. What are they supposed to do?
Listen, you know what? If they want to get a fullback in the 5th round of this crappy draft, like I was mad about it at first, but I'm like, who else are they gonna pick? Like,
also, have you seen his highlights?
Yeah, he's a good blocker.
He is like imported from the program, like the
Can he
movie The
catch?
Program, like where he's just like first string, like
Can he
blood
catch?
coming down his like forehead because his helmet's too
Yeah.
tight. Yeah, like that type of dude. That's where I want in fullback.
I just
Give
think of
him a neck roll. Like, what is this? I know, but you're wearing it.
wear it, yeah.
Okay.
I just think of fullbacks and how like CJ Ham was undrafted. A lot of them are undrafted. Kyle Juszczyk wasn't. He was like a 4th round pick, but he started as a running back actually. But like, you don't need to draft a fullback. But not in the 5th round. You could probably have got him in the 7th, but whatever. Like I said, the day 3 of this draft, like it probably did not matter who you picked in what order, because the difference between who went in the 5th round and who went in the 7th round is very minuscule. So like, they picked the fullback the 5th round. Whatever.
You know what's more interesting to me than the actual people they picked? Like kind of what they said with those picks. Because like you always feel, I don't know, you feel something and you kind of pick up on the tea leaves. I got a couple of takeaways here. One, Big Citrus is an amazing nickname.
Oh yeah.
And we will be talking about that all summer because
do they have like an Orange Julius at Mall of America or anything like that? Like,
I have not been at the Mall of America in years, man.
What?
And like decades. I have not been
I thought
down.
Minnesotans just go there like every day.
It's a cluster. Like
I'm sure. It's just a tourist attraction, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like and two, like if there's like
and
an
who goes to the
NBA
mall?
store in there. Yeah, who goes to the mall anymore?
I don't think I've been to a mall. Ooh, I don't know. Especially during Christmas. Like, I'm not going to the mall on Christmas.
Are you a How I Met Your Mother fan?
I've seen clips. I haven't watched. I've never watched a full episode.
So there's an episode where Robin's like one of the.
I know that the Vikings are like intermingled in it.
Yeah, Robin's actually the one who's like featured in that little Minnesota. So like, there's another episode with her because she's from Canada, and they like she's got a secret or whatever. So it turns out she was like a child pop star, and her big single was "Let's Go to the Mall." And like she like the whole time she was like deathly afraid of going to the mall. Like, why do you not want to go to the mall? And she's like, I lived off of Orange Julius and Wetzel's Pretzels for like 5 years. It was bad. And yeah, there's like a whole music. I mean, it's a very funny episode. So there's your How I Met Your Mother. Yeah, I mean
the Viking stuff.
It's good until it's kind of like The Office. Like the last couple seasons don't really matter, but
just
like
sitcoms,
the first couple.
I like Seinfeld.
They run out of ideas, and here's what I got from the draft. I don't think Kevin O'Connell's seat is as hot as people think right now, because they took a lot of projects in this draft. Like, if they wanted to, they could just take Dylan Thieneman and tell us all to shut the hell up about the safe picks. Like, all right, we like Donovan Jackson. We need a guard. We're going to draft a guard. Harrison Smith may retire. We're going to draft a safety because that's the safe pick. We talked about Caleb Banks being a project with some upside. Jake Galladay, he might have a role this year. He might not, because they want him to learn the Andrew Van Ginkel role. Dominique Orange, I think he might have a chance to be, because like they don't have any defensive tackles. So
it's probably going to be him, Caleb Banks, if he can start the season, and Jalen Redmond probably starting 3.
Right.
If all goes well, I would imagine.
It's also weird because I think they put out a memo about Banks saying, hey, his foot's good. He's good for minicamp. But I've heard too, like people are like, he's not going to be ready for minicamp. I'm like, wait, did the agent?
Also, who cares? It's minicamp.
Yeah. I mean, be ready for training camp. I would rather have you like do cardio during mini camp or whatever. And like, we'll just see you at training camp and we'll get all that. I mean, mini camps are basically a 7-on-7 passing drill. Like there's nothing that comes out of mini camp except for fluff pieces for the athletic.
Yeah. Like, slow motion throwing picks. Like we're going to see a lot of Kyler Murray, like just his hand, because you can't see the rest of his body. And that's but yeah, like, and defensive line, like I know the Vikings needed more, but like if Caleb Banks if you have to start the season on the pup, God forbid, I think Brian Flores will be able to figure it out. I think he's proven the the project thing too. It makes you think that Brian Flores is going to be around for more than just next season as well. I think he might have been like, yeah, probably not going to be a head coach until this lawsuit goes away. Maybe not after either. So he's probably just come to terms with like, yeah, I'm gonna stick around, and he's
I mean,
getting
when you're
paid.
making
He's getting
six
paid
million a
nice.
year,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that is it. You want to know the other takeaway I had from this
Yes.
class? They did not give a shit about what happened in that 5-game losing streak, man. I mean, we should have known when Kevin O'Connell acted like the dad who left for milk and never came back. Like when it came to like the offense, it's like, all right, yeah, kid, you're not getting this. I'm just, stick your finger in the light socket. I don't give a shit, the last 5 games, JJ McCarthy played well. Dallas Turner played well. So what happened this offseason? Kyler Murray's probably going to be the starter. And Albert Breer said they pursued him because they thought he could be a long-term solution. So what does that tell you? And Turner's in a starting role, but they're not building him up after all. Like, if they came
But they're
out,
not better. They're not a better team because he's in there.
like it would have been like, okay, yep, losing Jonathan Greenard sucks, but hey, we're really high on Dallas Turner. We liked what he did at the end of there was none of that, which is super weird. Like, I don't know if they just don't want to they want to keep it a secret or whatever. Like, that was just odd.
I think Kevin O'Connell was pretty grumpy at the end of the year, rightfully so. Things didn't go according to plan after winning 14 games the year before. He had to adjust his offense. And obviously he doesn't like to do that. And there's been some rumblings that JJ McCarthy is not the most mature person behind the scenes, and maybe not doing everything that's being asked of him behind the scenes. Not to put it all on JJ McCarthy, but it goes both ways. Like if you want to be good at this job, you have to follow what your coaches are telling you to do. Which includes not grittying into the end zone on touchdown. Like I enjoyed that, but if your coach is telling you not to do that, like you going against him is showing him that he can't trust you. And it sounds silly, but this is the NFL. That's not silly to them. Like it's literally a game of inches. Like people talk all the time about, oh, if the Vikings just stopped that one kick return of the Bears last year, they would have been in the mix for the NFC North title. It's like, yeah, if a lot of different things happened last year, they would have been in the mix for something, but it didn't. So, but yeah, I think he was at that point of the season, he was just over a lot of things of also having to watch Max Brosmer start is just draining for anybody. It's draining for fans. I can't imagine what it's like to call plays and have them not go anything close to what you called. Like your best play call is just hand the ball off to Jordan Addison, and he'll score a touchdown. So Brosmer doesn't have to throw. But yeah, I think he was just probably pretty drained last year, and that came off. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was a little more enthusiastic in the offseason. I'm curious to see how he talks about JJ McCarthy. I'm sure he'll.
Oh, he's taking a picture with his kid during training camp. I'm calling it right now. Like it's gonna be on the hey, KOC loves the kids.
Doesn't
It's him
Carson
in
Wentz have
Rome.
5 kids?
Yeah. But he never had one during the season though.
Actually he did last year, but he got hurt right before.
Oh.
He got hurt right before. Remember? He got hurt and then like a week
O'Connell?
later. No, Carson Wentz.
Oh,
a week
that's
after his
right.
injury
Yep.
last year, his wife had a baby.
I thought you were saying Kevin O'Connell. Sorry.
Can you imagine if he was healthy and his wife had a baby? He would have been cut.
Yeah. We don't need you. We have Purple Purdy in the
but yeah, I just think it was a lot of the end of the year stuff was just but it was clear, like, yeah, people a lot like fans and stuff, you can look at the box score and be like, yeah, they won 5 in a row, they finished 9-8. Great for morale. Woohoo. But the Vikings know that they didn't they beat the Packers literal backups. They beat a terrible Giants team. They beat a terrible Commanders team. They beat a Lions team that was decimated by injuries. Like the Cowboys win was semi-impressive, but their defense was horrible as well. Like, it was impressive to stop that offense, but other than that, like, not really. So, yeah, I don't know if what those wins did a whole lot for the organization as maybe people think they did, so I agree with you on that.
And I think they knew what they were doing wasn't working. And that's why a lot of these picks came in, where they're replacing them. They're looking down the line. Like, what is this team going to look like in 2 or 3 years? You don't do that if you don't think you have job security, first of all. Second of all, it just gets back to my point. What are you protecting here? Like, bring back Rob Brzezinski, and he's just going to start listening to what do you guys want? Do you want to, and two, like you said too, it's like, because they traded away Jonathan Greenard, they let, Brian Flores control the first 2 days of the draft. Is it a fucking Sega Genesis controller? Like my mom would always be like, let your sisters play Sonic the Hedgehog.
To be fair, I would trust Brian Flores in that room probably more than almost anybody to make those picks. So, like, he's a very scouting heavy background. I would trust him more than Kevin O'Connell to make those picks. There might be some other guys in there who would be better at it, but not a lot. You trust Ryan Grigson over Brian Flores? No.
Yeah. We laugh at like Rob Brzezinski sitting back, like, where was Ryan Grigson? Like in a broom closet.
There was a picture of them preparing for the draft. Grigson was right next to him. Right next to Brzezinski. And I posted it. I'm like, for all you people that were hoping that Grigson wasn't going to be involved in this draft, I got some bad news for you, because he's right next to Rob Brzezinski.
Unless they told him, you sit right there and you don't move, okay?
Yeah. So
smile for the photos. Yeah. Don't blink twice like you're in trouble.
I'm curious to see if he sticks around. I don't think he will. I don't even know if because he was brought in by Kwesi. So like, why would he want to hang around unless he just likes Minnesota and they like him? I hope they don't. I don't know. But yeah, it's hooray. But also, like, the Vikings have to do this. Like, they have to finally start like getting younger, building through the draft. Like, they got rid of Greenard. They've got Van Ginkel, who's getting older. TJ Hawkinson's contract expiring. Aaron Jones is getting older. Like, Harrison Smith obviously is, who the fuck knows. Blake Cashman's contract's expiring. Like, they have to do this. Like, they have to start building from the draft. And all the years that they weren't able to is catching up to them. So they have to just buckle down and do it. Hopefully this is the start of something. If they hit on, I don't know, 3 picks, I think that's a win this year.
Yeah, in this draft especially. Like,
yeah.
I think we're older enough to like realize, hey, they're not gonna go 7 for 7 and get 7.
Nobody does
in the draft. Yeah, that's not really. I mean, even the 2015 draft, it's like you got 3 good players out of that.
Like, everyone talks about the 2017 Saints.
Yeah, they got 3 players.
Yeah. Look at all their picks like the years after.
Yeah,
not good. So, like,
big Marcus Williams fan though.
Well, yeah. Who's the pass rusher that the Vikings got from the Saints, who was a first round pick, who was weird?
Marcus Davenport.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Well, you know who Marcus Williams is, right?
Yeah, he whiffed on the Minneapolis Miracle.
There you go.
Of course I know who that is.
Well, I don't know. You just kind of went to another thing. I was like, does he know what I
had
just
something
referenced?
on my mind? But yes, absolutely. Is he with the Ravens now? I think.
Davenport or Williams?
No,
I think Williams is with the Ravens.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. I don't know. Just they were not Pro Bowlers after that 2017 season, but they started well. And then
Alvin Kamara, he was part of that class,
and he's washed.
Yeah, well, he could go to the Broncos, hang out with Sean Payton.
Probably. Bo Nix had a second procedure on his ankle.
Second surgery, according to Kevin Seifert.
Oh, second surgery. Oh, gotcha. Yep. Yeah, that worked well.
No, I'm
nothing to see here, though.
I'm joking because that's what Kevin Seifert said about J.J. McCarthy's routine. What do you have, like a scope?
Yeah.
His knee or something to like get some excess drainage out. And he's like, oh, second surgery. Huge operation.
They barely saved the leg.
Yeah.
I mean, some Vikings fans would argue.
This is like Teddy 2.0 over here.
Oh my goodness. Hey, what's going on at the Viking Age, Adam?
We're still recovering and talking about the drafts. We did a cool thing this year where we collaborated with our NCAA division, where they've given us a bunch of blurbs and info, and we're sharing those. Got some good ones about Caleb Banks, and some others as well. So keep an eye out for that. We just did a lot of cool draft stuff this year. We had like a big board where we collaborated with fanside.com. We did a best available like big board with Sports Illustrated. So like I enjoyed this draft a lot. We did a lot of cool things. But yeah, so go check the VikingAge.com out now. There's a lot of draft stuff on there, and of course, also keep an eye on free agents like Juwan Jennings, who could sign any minute now.
Any minute now, of course. My Vikings work is at zonecoverage.com. I also write about the Twins there occasionally because they have no bullpen now. And
Bullpen.
yeah, who needs one of those?
Yeah.
Like what team trades for a lights out closer and just has them be like the star of their team? I mean, you've never heard of anything like that, have you, Adam?
Nope.
Adam?
Nope.
No, not at all.
We're gonna listen to some Corn after this. I think that's what I'm gonna move for.
Yeah, and also too, I got some wild stuff at Hockey Wilderness. They might get out of the first round.
Big day. What, Wild and Timberwolves?
Wild and Timberwolves. So the Wild and Timberwolves have never advanced in the playoffs in the same year together. So one of them's always been bounced, or like they just didn't make the playoffs altogether. But
they also haven't been around that long, right?
25 years. The Wild.
Yeah, I guess.
So I mean, that's the Wild have been out of the second round just once in their franchise.
Has the Wild been to the playoffs more than the Timberwolves though in their history? It's got to be close, right? Because the Timberwolves did not go to the playoffs for very long.
But the Wild
have
lost
started and in the middle there.
The Wild have lost in the first round 8 straight times.
Okay.
Which is more than the Timberwolves did in the late 90s and 2000s, which most of the Wild fans are like, the Wolves are dumpster franchise. And it's like, well, Wild are kind of, I mean, they just win more in the regular season. That's the difference. But
shots fired at Terrell Brandon.
pours some out for Troy Hudson.
Yeah.
In his mixtape.
Sam Cassell.
Anyway, this is the Viking Age podcast. It's the official podcast of the VikingAge.com. We do this right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. However, you consume us, like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode, and we can spread the word to the masses. And also, too, doing a little bit of short stuff. So, like, if you got ADD or something, we got something for you. So that's there. I don't know. Maybe that was bad for me to say. We all have ADD.
Yeah.
We TikTok. Oh, shit. He's Adam Patrick at Adam Patrick NFL. I'm Chris Schad at the real Chris Schad. Skull.